just couldn't wait to make this deck profile for you guys. Welcome to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta. I'm D-Boy. I'm here for you guys with a deck profile on Spike Willis. This time it's standard. Next I will start with premium, and you could tell me which deck do you want to see. I have a lot of different builds that I could show you to you. But first let's start with standard. As you can see, I have some of the high rarity cards, not all of them yet, but I just couldn't wait to make this deck profile. They are coming soon. I already have bought all of them. That's not the problem, but the problem is I just couldn't wait to make this deck profile for you guys. So I will start with a fast, just show you which cards I play. Then I will explain which cards I don't play and why, and then also the cards that I play, why I play them, and what the skills are. So we start up with 4 copies of General Siegfried. It's your go-to grade 3 and you play 4 copies of it, and then playing 4 copies of Juggernaut Maximum as your secondary grade 3. Not your right target. You could ride him for the force marker, but you don't really want to. Therefore the grade 2s. I play 4 copies of Spike Bouncer, followed up by 4 copies of High Speed Bracky, and then we have 4 copies of Panther. I play all of 4 copies because of the skill of Siegfried, which will come up to later. Then playing 4 copies of Goyo Slinger. I've seen people try to play him at 3 or even 2. I love him at 4. I will definitely be playing him at 4. 4 copies of Wonder Boy, and followed up by 4 copies of Commander Jerry Cannon. A very good card. Play him at 4, and as I like to call him, Search Siegfried. His name is Search Siegfried. And then for the last card, this is a card that you could be anything that you put in here. It's up to you. Play another grade 3 or a grade 1 or a grade 2. I don't like the only 12 grade 1, so I like to play an extra grade 1 in here, and this time it's Funky Bazooka. For the trigger lineup, of course, we are playing 4 draws, being the draw PG, so Merlin, followed up by 4 heal triggers, and then 8 crits. So as you can see, I only play the 8 crits. I don't play the 6 on 6. Why? Because you don't want to draw too much in this deck, because that's when you will draw your combo pieces. Also, you can build up advantage out of nothing with him, combining with Siegfried or just Spike Bouncer. You can do a lot of different combos. Of course, for the starter, we still have our Mega Trainer. It's ironic that we still play him even in standard. Yeah, just too good. Right on top of him, draw a card. It's really nice. Also, what I really like with this deck is that Bushrod gave Spike Willis a really nice art. When you look at Spike Bouncer, as when you zoom in, when the Juggernaut, the Siegfried himself, all of the cards have a very nice art, and they are so detailed, so I'm very happy with that. Alright, so now let's zoom in and explain some of the cards for you guys, the cards that I play, and also the cards that I don't play. So let's start with the grade 3s, and with 4 copies of General Siegfried. So this is also definitely your go-to grade 3. First, let's talk about the arts. We have the 2 different rarities right here. Of course, in the future, I will have 4 copies of him as in one deck and 4 copies of him as in another deck. But talk about the rarities. The yellow or golden text right here is amazing. But the downside to that is it's very easy to damage. So if you buy those, keep in mind, just put them in the sleeve as fast as you can, and also as smooth as you can, because they are so easy to damage. The VR, on the other hand, looks amazing because the background art looks really good. So I like both of them. I actually like this art better, but I like the full art more, that you could just see the whole card and not have the text right here. Of course, it's a 13k base because it's a force and it has the force marker. When we go into the skill, Siegfried has 2 skills, very important skills. The first one is an act. It's a counterblast 1, and you choose one of your ragas, you put it into your soul. If you do that, you may choose and search your deck for up to the same card name as the one that you put into your soul. You call it to a rearguard circle. So again, not open rearguard circle, just normal rearguard circle. So that's the good thing about the new Spike. It also makes it easier for the new players to play the deck, because when the G era, or actually before that, you can only call to open rearguard circle, which make it really hard. which cards like the Break Ride, like Bad and Dragger, gave you the opportunity to have open Rega circles. Like it started all up with him, and then we had Charge, and that's when you could call to open Rega circles. But with Siegfried, you could just call on top of another unit. When you activate the skill, himself and the unit that you call get an extra 10k. So this card is like an Overlord, Dragonok Overlord. He also get the extra 10k, which make him a very strong Vanguard, and at the same time he has the hit ability which could restand the Overlord. In this case, he has also the second ability, which is an auto ability. When this unit attacks hits, then you may counter blast or soul blast 2, and you may restand one of your Vanguards. So that's a very good thing about this card is it has the hit pressure, so it's a very good first right target, but it is also your finisher. The good thing about that is that you could play any other grade 3 and it shouldn't be your finisher. Like in Kagero or other decks, you have to play, like let's say Oracle Think Tank for example. You go into Amaterasu first and then you go to Daughter to finish your opponent off. With Kagero the same, you go to Overlord, then you go to Dragonok Waterfall. In this deck you don't have to, you can just sit at Siegfried the whole game. Sometimes you ride from a Siegfried to another Siegfried to get the force marker, but at the same time you don't have to, because your Regards, your Vanguard hit for an incredible amount of power. So for Siegfried, definitely play full. Then we go to the second grade 3 that we play in this deck, and this time is Juggernaut Maximum. Well, let's start with the arts. Of course I love the old arts. He looks exactly the same as the Juggernaut that we know. So the old Juggernaut, he looks exactly the same. It's really nice to be able to see a full art of him. And of course he has the 13k base, that's the only difference. And then we have the new art. I don't know about that. I like the old art way better, but the good thing about him is are the eyes. You can see the eyes, you can see him just charging in there, which is pretty nice to see. Also we have the G-Guardian from him, which is also looks nice. Give me a minute, I could get it for you guys. It's also an SP, which is pretty nice. We have him in SP. So as you can see here, we have all the 3 different Juggernauts. It's pretty nice that we have all of them right now, like 3 different arts. But again, let's go back to the skill of Juggernaut. Juggernaut has 2 abilities. The first one is on place, Vanguard and Vanguard. Of course, remember that he has the force marker as well, which makes him an okay first target, but you always want to ride Siegfried, even as your first right target. So his first ability, when he's placed on Vanguard and Vanguard, he gets an extra 10k. It's an easy 10k that he could hit everything. He already is strong enough to be able to hit everything that is out there, but still the extra 10k doesn't hurt, of course. And then he also has the Vanguard ability. At the beginning of your main phase, you put this unit into your soul, you search your deck for up to a new one, and you call it to Vanguard Circle, and that's when his first skill will activate again. Of course, that ability only works on the Vanguard because you can't put your Vanguard into your soul. But if that was the case, then this would have been also a very good right target, because that would mean that you could ride every turn into a new grade 3 and give you another force marker. The good thing about Sprite Brothers are right now is that they have a lot of these kind of skills, which means that you get your normal unit out of your deck, and that's when you'll be able to drive check more triggers. And there are also ways to put these units back to your deck. So that's it for the grade 3s, 8 grade 3s. Now for the grade 3s that I don't play. We start with the 2 that we have right here, which are the only 2 that we have. So first we have Unite Attacker or Unit Attacker. The thing about this card is, what does make him bad is he's a Soul Blast 7, so that would mean that you can't get it right away. And then you look at the top 5 cards from your top of your deck and you call any number of cards, and then the front row get an extra 5k. The bad thing about this card is you may think it's a good finisher and I could get it off, but the bad thing about it is that you can't really use him as a finisher because you have already used a lot of your units that search themselves out of your deck. So in the top 5 there could be 2 or 3 triggers, and you don't want to put those triggers on the field, you don't want to put them at the bottom of your deck, you just don't want to use his ability. And that's what makes him a very, very bad finisher, because he's not a finisher. You can make a deck build around him which is cheaper, but still it's not good. The only good thing about him is he has the force marker. And then we go to the frontliner. Well, the thing about this card is it doesn't have the force marker, and also he only has a rare guard ability, so you just don't want to write him as your Vanguard. This card could be good in premium, but in standard, I don't know. The good thing about him is, if you compare him to the Grade 0, is that he gives you a card back as well. But leaving him on the field as a rare guard, only a 13k, that doesn't do a lot at the end of your turn or at the beginning of your turn. That's bad. If this card was on place, you get his skill, that would be very good. But he is not, he's at the beginning of your main phase, so you have to wait a whole turn for him to activate. And that's why I don't really like to play him. So that's actually it for the grade 3s, so only 4 copies of Siegfried and 4 copies of Juggernaut. Now we go to the grade 2s. Let's start with Spike Bouncer. This card is amazing. I don't know what Bushiroad was smoking or drinking when they made this card, but this card in the premium build is just too strong. And I have ordered like 18 copies of this card because you could put him in every deck. You can even put him in Dudley's, for God's sake. I mean, this card is just amazing. Spike Bouncer, 2 abilities. The first one is better than the second one, but you can use both if you play the GB8 build or if you have enough counterblasters to abuse. So, his first ability, when this card is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, so that's very good, makes him a very good right target. He's also 10k, so that's good. And you activate his ability by counterblasting 1 and soul blasting 1. That's also good. The soul blast is nice, especially if you have used your skill of the Yo-Yo Slinger in the early game. Then you have to soul blast something that you put with him. So let's say a trigger, you put a critical trigger into your soul with him, you call something from your top of your deck, and then you can use his ability to soul blast that. So when you place the Wonder Boy on the field, you still get to put that critical trigger back to your deck, which is good. So, and then you look at the top of your deck for as the grade of your Vanguard. So let's say you're grade 2, then you could look at the top 2 cards, call one of them to Rearguard Circle, and then shuffle your, or put the rest on the bottom of your deck. You don't shuffle. This is a +1. It's just an easy +1. For Count +1 and Soul +1, it's an easy +1. Definitely play him at 4 in Premium and in Standard and in any other fucking deck that you want to play. Yeah, it's just too good. His second ability is only a Rearguard. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, you may counterblast 1 and put him into your soul to draw a card. This is very, very good in Premium. Why? Because he would leave an open Rearguard circle behind him, so your skills will still activate. Second thing is, this is an extra 2 attacks on your GB8 turn. Remember that. If you have enough counterblasts, this card acts better than an Axe Diver in the most situations. And also, I would love to see this card in SP. I mean, look at the complete art. The art of it, as it said, the flavor text, everything is just Spike Brothers. For the next grade 2 that we play are, of course, 4 copies of High Speed Bracky. High Speed Bracky was one of the cards that you always played when we started playing Spike Brothers. It's an easy 5k and now it's an easy 10k. When placed on Rearguard, it doesn't work on Vanguard, but when placed on Rearguard, you activate his ability by giving him an extra 10k, and then at the beginning of your main phase, if it's on your Rearguard circle, you may put it into your soul to call a new High Speed Bracky and give it an extra 10k again because his first ability will be activated. So this card is just a solid 10k with the solid extra 10k. Activate his abilities, of course, if you have him in your deck. If you don't have him, don't, because you will minus yourself 1, or maybe you have to fill up your soul for some reason. But yeah, I think it's a solid card to definitely play him at 4, why not? And we don't really have a lot of better options, but I do like High Speed Bracky a lot because he makes an incredible amount of high speed attacks. Now we play 4 copies of Panther. You could play this card at 3 if you want to. I like to play him at 4 to maximize the grade 2s that we have, but it's up to you how you want to build your deck. So Panther has of course the ability that when he attacks you Soul Blast 1, and then you could give him an extra 5k or 15k. If you gave him 5k he stays on the field. If you gave him 15k he goes into your soul at the end of the battle. Also the power that you give him also stays to the end of the battle, so you can't really abuse him with Seafried, restand him, and then give him another 5k or another 15k. That doesn't work. So it's another card that you could use very good in premium because it leaves an open Vanguard circle behind it, but it's very good to use with Seafried as well. You attack first with him, and then you give him only the extra 5k. So your opponent would think, okay, it's a 15k, it's no problem. Then you attack with Seafried and you restand him, and that's when he will attack again. And then you could use his ability to give him an extra 15k, and that's when it would be a problem for your opponent to guard. So it's an easy trick that you could use when you play Spike Brothers. There are a lot of tricks that you could use, but it's a solid card again as High Speed Bracky. Play him at 3 or play him at 4, it doesn't really matter because you always had at least an extra copy of him in your deck to use if you want to activate him with your Siegfried. And that's it for the grade 2s, so 12 grade 2s. The grade 2s that I don't play in this deck are these two. So the guards, you could use him as an interceptor or guard from your hand and he get an extra 10k. So it's a 15k shield as the same as a trigger. If this card got 15k shield, like be as strong as a heal trigger, I would play him, but just the extra 5k, I don't know, but I do really like the art. And then we have the solid 10k with 10k shield. You could also play this, but you would rather play him if you really want to. The only problem with him is he's a 9k and this card is a 10k, but I don't play both of them because there is, in my opinion, no reason to be defensive in Spike Brothers. The best way to defend in Spike Brothers is just to attack. Then for the grade 1 lineup, I play 13 grade 1s, and that will give me an extra spot to put anything that I want to play in here. Playing 4 copies of Go-Go Slinger, he is very good to use with Seafried because you can put your triggers into your soul and get in strong field if you really want to finish your opponent off. This is the only card that gives you the opportunity to do that, and this is the only card why people would play extra draw triggers because they're easy to put into your soul. But I don't mind putting a critical trigger or just a grade 1 or a grade 3 that I don't really need into my soul. You could really use him smart if you like, let's say, write him in the first turn, because you could just put something into your soul and then soul blast that with the skill of Spike Bouncer if you have him in your hand, and then you combine him with Wonder Boy. That could work. But Go-Go Slinger, play him at 4 as I said because he gives you the opportunity to be more offensive. When this card is placed on Vanguard and Vanguard, you put one of your cards from your hand into your soul, and then if you're grade 1 you search the top 1 card. If you're grade 2, top 2, 3, so the same as Spike Bouncer, and then you call one of those units into your Vanguard circle and give it an extra 5k. The rest goes into the bottom of your deck in any order that you like. So he is like Spike Bouncer, but he is not a +1 because he calls your card from your hand. But the good thing about him is if you want to play him in premium, that's pretty nice because he could call on top of another unit and he's easy to get to the field. Also, he gives the unit that he calls an extra 5k, which makes that enough to hit like better numbers. In my opinion, I love playing this card as the art is amazing, it's shiny, the power and the defense is perfect, 8 on 10, so there is just no reason to play less. If you want to play less, then you would have maybe another option as a great one that you really want to put into your deck, but in my opinion there is really no need to. 4 copies of Wonder Boy. This is the same as Juggernaut and High Speed Bracky. At the beginning of your main phase, this card goes into your soul and then you call a new Wonder Boy, but he only gets an extra 5k when he is placed. So the first ability is when placed, you put one of your cards from your drop zone back to your deck. It could be anything except a grade 1. So you can put your triggers, you can put your high speed brackies or juggernauts that you want to call again into your deck, and then you could give him an extra 5k. As easy as that, Wonder Boy is one of the cards that will be stable for a very long time. Why? Again, the power and the shield is perfect, 8 on 10. There is no reason to play anything that is not in force. And then he gives you the opportunity to recycle some of their units back to your deck. If we got a grade 2 that recycles, then we'll definitely play that to replace the Panther. But Wonder Boy is the only card that I play in this deck that recycles, because I don't play the grade 3 and I don't play the grade 0. So then we have one of the cards that some people would like to play at 3 or 2 or 1 or don't play him, and those people are, sorry to say it, not Spikeboard players. And they will never be. The thing is with this card, he has one thing to do. Search your fucking Siegfried. Search Siegfried is his name for now, and I think people that from Crushing the Metal that are watching this know the irony about that. But I myself don't have the right grade 3 in my hand. I always start with no grade 3s or with Juggernaut into my hand, and I ride Juggernaut a lot in this deck. And this card gives you the opportunity to search your Siegfried. What he does is, when this card is on the field and he boosts a unit and that unit attacks hits the Vanguard, it should hit the Vanguard. Then you put this unit into your soul, you draw 2 cards and you put 1 card from your hand into the bottom of your deck. So you would say he's not a plus. No, he's actually not a plus. But he draws you 2 cards and you put any card from your hand into the bottom of your deck. So you recycle one of the cards that you have in your hand. Let's say an extra high speed Bracky or an extra Juggernaut or an extra Wonder Boy that you don't want to call. You put that into the bottom of your deck. Also, he leaves an open Vanguard circle behind him, which is good in the most situations if you play in premium, which is one of the cards that you could definitely play. It's a 10k shield, why not, for God's sake. But also he's an 8k, which is good. 8 on 10, again, very good. And yes, he gives you a kind of a +1 because you put him in the early game, you pressure your opponent, and then he also goes into your soul to give you a defensive card in your hand if you need it. One of the cards that would definitely be playing at 4 in the most situations. One of the cards that could definitely be a contender to be played in premium. I do like this card a lot. I'm very happy that we gain a card like this. Then for the extra grade 1, I don't like to play 12 grade 1s, as I said. So this is one of the cards that I put in here. It could be this one or the beer. Anyone that plays this one, it's good. It depends on your playstyle. He's in solid 18k attacker, which is nice. Could hit like a lot, because when you have 4 or more rear guards, he gets the opportunity to get an extra 10k as attacking. So it doesn't work as a booster, which is the reason that I don't play him. But Funky Bazooka, I played this card pure because the art is better. In my opinion, it's what Spikeball is all about. A goblin having a bazooka in the field, it's perfect. And he also reminds me of Frog Raider, which is a card that I do like a lot. His ability is different than Frog Raider, but actually a kind of the same. When other Vanguard is placed on the same column as him, he gets an extra 5k. But that only works if your own Vanguard is placed. So if your opponent placed a Vanguard in the same column, that doesn't work, which is sad. But he getting an extra 5k. He's only a 7k, but that's good. It's alright when you play against Axel and Protect, but when you play against Force, then you would rather have just an 8k behind it, which does the same. I've explained this in my video, and I will put a link in the description section below for you guys. In that video I explained how you could build your field and how your field could look like and the numbers that you could make with this deck. If you're a Spikeball player, then you should definitely go and watch that, and if you're interested in spikes also, because it's a very nice video and it's very easy explained with all the cards out there and show you the power that they gain. So Funky Bazooka at 1, just because I don't want to play 12 grade 1s, and I do like the extra grade 1, which I don't really like to GS, especially not on the first turn. For the trigger lineup, playing 4 copies of the PG draw. As I said, this is the only draw that I play in this deck because I don't want to draw into my combo pieces, and the only reason why you should play the second draw is if you want to abuse the skill of Goyo Slinger too much, because it's an easy card to put into your soul. But again, it's only 5k and the new triggers have way more shield, but with the draw PG you don't really feel like it's less because it's just a perfect guard. So Merlin, I'm very happy that we got her back as the perfect guard, which we knew that we will get her back. The art is amazing, she's shiny, which is good. Play her in premium and play her in standard, depending on the slots that you want to have extra in your great ones. You could take 1 copy of her to play another crit if you have a crit in the future, because you could play an extra great one, but I don't really see a reason why. So 4 copies of Merlin, followed up by 4 copies of Tiara, another card that I'm very happy to see back. It was one of my favorite heals and I played it for a very long time, and then I had to use the other one when it came out because it has this skill and it has the deadly name. But Tiara is always one of my favorite cards to play and to see. I'm very happy to see her as in your hand because she's an extra shield in your damage, or just having to drive check her. She is one of the cards that I, as I said, very proud to be able to play her again. Also, you already know that she, of course, the heal triggers have more shield value, so 20k shield is as strong as a G Guardian almost. Now we have 4 copies of Silent Joker followed up by 4 copies of Sonic Breaker. It's really nice to be able to play the 8 crits because it does pressure your opponent, and when you put him at 4 or 5 damage, that's when they will be very afraid of taking your Vanguard attack, but they would also not take the rear guard attacks, so it's a very hard decision for your opponent to make. In this deck you always go face attacking the Vanguard because you have an incredible amount of power that you put on the Vanguard and the rear guard. Playing the 8 crits would mean that if they want to guard the Siegfried attack because they don't want to have the hit pressure or the hit effect, if you get 1 or 2 crits you put them onto the rear guard, but normally you attack first with the rear guard and then you attack with Siegfried, so you have 1 rear guard left, which is very strong, and then you activate Siegfried ability if he hits to resend the other one, or if they guard the Siegfried then you give all the crits to the other one, and that would finish your opponent off as well. So the 8 crits in my opinion are very good, or the way to go for Spike Press for now. If you want to play it differently, of course, be my guest, play whatever you want. And then we have Mega Trainer. I'm very happy that we got him as a first starter because I do really like him and he's always been family, so why not? Also, this would mean that when we get a new starter in the future which has an interesting ability that you really want to play, you could still play that starter and multiple copies of Mega Trainer if you want to. Just on when you ride on top of him you draw a card, which give you 1 soul and 1 draw. That's perfect, especially on your grade 1 turn, because then you have the right grade 2 in the next turn, you have more opportunity to get the right cards in your hand. And that's actually it for the deck profile. For the force markers, you can play whatever force marker you want. You can play the normal one, you can play the black one, you can play the Siegfried one. As you can see, I've made my own art with this, like the force marker on the top of this and crushing the meta. You can play whatever you want, it's really up to you. I think that I like the black ones way more, but if a lot of people will be playing this, then I would definitely play the normal one or just play the Siegfried one. It's really up to you, it doesn't really matter how many cards or how many force markers that you want to play. I would play like 6 or at least 4, because there is a chance in this deck that you would ride into multiple grade 3s just to get the force marker, so it's really up to you. That's actually it for deck profile on Spike Wiz. I hope that you enjoyed this deck profile, and I hope that you enjoyed the new way to present the deck. And tell me what you want to see next, of course, for premium, because As I said, I will start with an easy Turbo GB8 build, like the build that I would play in multiple tournaments, but I'm really happy to do whatever build that you want to, because there is the very interesting Bad and Dragger build. There is also a very nice interaction with him in the force markers. I think that most of you guys already know the combo, but I could also show you that as well if you want to. It's an extra 40k on every attack that you do that turn, and that's just crazy that your draw trigger could attack for 45. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.